Hello, I'm Isma, as usual, from FX Kampala. First, I would like to thank you for watching our videos all over our social media platforms, that is YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and forth. Hope they have been helpful. Well, particularly today, I'm releasing this particular video specifically to ideally be in position to analyze the markets basing on technical analysis, but specifically, or to be specific, I'll literally be looking at supply and demand. Now, most of the people have been asking what exactly supply and demand are. Supply and demand are whereby some people do confuse supply and demand with the support and resistance. Now, specifically in today's video, I'm literally going to be in position to differentiate or give you a difference in particular to show you and tell you how possibly the two differences or the two terminologies differ in particular. That is supply and demand, and also support and resistance. Now, supply and demand are basically zones of supply and resistance. Now, if you experience a support, remember, for a support, we ideally looking out for the bust points where we expect the market to be touching as many points as possible, or what we may call the U-turn points or the turning points from various points, that when we come up with a couple of these, we're in position to identify the support and resistance. Now, in the due course of identifying these, okay, for particularly not to leave out certain points that also would make sense or would literally be missed out, we then come up with what we refer to as supply and demand zones. So they are basically a bit of a distant width in relation to the supply, in relation to support and resistance, meaning that for them, they're literally covering quite some bigger space as compared to the line, and hence us getting various points which would literally be missed out. Now, from this statement, we're going to literally notice the difference, okay, of supply and demand. Supply and demand zones are observable areas on the Forex chart. Now, let me be specific. The reason as to why I only considered Forex chart is because our area of study is Forex, but then it can be any other format of market. If you're actually having so many points or observable points that are intact, or that are, when you join them, you're coming up with a certain price, then you're literally coming up with a supply and demand zone. So let's get to this statement, because it's from this statement that we're going to get the difference between supply and demand, then with comparison with support and resistance. Now, supply and demand zones are observable areas of the Forex chart where price has approached many times in the past. So where price has approached many times in the past. So we're looking out for those specific points, just like we're going to see in the very video. Now, unlike lines of support and resistance, now you're looking, or when you look at this, you're precisely going to notice that supply and demand support and resistance are basically lines, whereas supply and demand are zones or areas. So that's the main difference. Now let's get onto our MT4 chart or Forex chart to ideally notice how basically we can trade based with support and resistance, supply and demand, and also notice the difference between support and resistance in relation to supply and demand, and how are we in position to actually come up with a supply and demand zone. Now, how are we supposed to do this? Okay, now let's get onto the chart and see then directly how we are in position to use this when we are trading. Now, as we're actually going to our chart or our MT4 platform, please don't hesitate to actually subscribe on our channel, okay, like, comment in case of anything. For more info or for more details, for those particularly that do really want to learn how to trade Forex, how to trade cryptos, how to actually use expert advisors or robots automate their tradings with the softwares. We do have those in place. We do conduct forex signals and so on and so forth, provided it's in relation with or in line with forex trading or chart analysis or trading. Okay, so let's be at our chart now. We're going to look at some of the principles that we should notice when we are analyzing the market based on supply and demand. Remember, we said supply and demand. If you directly know what resistance is and what support is, then you ideally going to be in position to turn them into zones such that you also profit out of them, because they are observable lines that are actually previously been occurring at the same point. So when you look at our chart here, you're literally going to notice some of the principles that we need to have when we are actually trading with supply and demand. And for your own information, they are not literally only the points. We are not literally they shouldn't literally be the only reason as to why you should actually be following the same procedures with only supply and demand, but rather also with any format of technical analysis. Okay, please contact us in the contacts that are either here or here, please. Now, the first principle that you need to notice when you are trading, or for you to ideally be in position to trade using supply and demand, the first thing is basically for you to make the charts visible. What do I mean? Make the background white. Okay, ideally differentiate the bulls and the bears within the market. Then after doing so, make sure that you zoom out to the lowest. The reason as to why we zoom out to the lowest is particularly for us to be in position to observe those points, okay, clearly, that are whether they are in line or not. So there is no way you can observe them like the way you see the chart. Okay, you can't observe that unless you zoom out. By zooming out, you're reducing the market or the candles within our market to the lowest, such that you can ideally notice or have a big view of the market, where particularly these candles have been meeting that particular point. Now, when you have this, then zoom out, just like we've said, by zooming out. This is the tool that you need to click on, zooming out. Let's actually come to our trading platform, and we look at specifically how we can come up with our supply and demand zone, then in relation with support and resistance. Now, what we're going to do here is basically particularly learn how you can draw your supply and demand zones in relation with support and resistance. Now, what we're going to do is first we're going to draw our resistance. Remember, we say for you to come up with the resistance line, you're actually looking at specific points where markets are observed, turning from the very point or the very price, okay, to either retrace upwards or downwards. Now, after ideally noticing these starting points of the resistance, then the next thing, the resistance or support, then the next thing that you have to do is you draw where there is the resistance, you draw the supply or the demand zone where there is the support. Now, we're going to first draw or identify our resistance and our support. Then it's from the very point where we will be in position to actually come up with our supply and demand zones. Let's start and check out from our charts. Okay, sorry for this. This is actually a trade that has been executed by the robot. Sorry for that. Let's proceed. Now, what I'm going to do, now what we're going to do is I'm going to identify the resistance and then the support on this particular pair. This pair is just like the way we see it's GBP USD. Now, this is a trade that has been executed by the bot, which I'll actually leave and to execute or run by itself. Let me actually let me execute it. Let me close it. Let me close it. Now, let me first come up with the lines where the market is actually touching so many points. There is here, there's this point here, yes, sorry, there is this point, it's because when you look at this line, the market is touching here, it's touching here, it's touching here, it's touching here. Now this point has been reversed so many times, and hence coming or making up a resistance. We also have another resistance here, which is also touching so many points. It's touching this, touching this, touching this. So most of the times when market reach here, we actually expect the market to touch, to either retrace or break the market whenever it reaches at that point. Then when we look here where apparently we're experiencing the market, you'll also notice that market has also caught so many points in line with the current market price. Let's also come up with our line as well to clearly notice the other line, which is this. When you actually let me make it a bit clear, I'll put it there. Now when you look, it has caught this point, it has caught this point, it has caught so many points. Okay, here it was a break, then break, okay, then break, retest, and then market went up, break, retracement, 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 break, retracement, 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 break, break. Then as it broke, it went, came back and retested, so and so on and so forth. So when market reaching here, we expect actually the market to either go up or come down at this very point. Okay, so whenever we have this point, we should actually take a clear note or not miss out on any particular trade, because it's really making sense out of the market. So you're not missing out on this market just because you ideally been in position to notice that at this point there are actually forces that are letting the market to either resist the market or break the market, but again retested as the market to gain the momentum. And when it gains the momentum, this definitely means that it's now going to move with such high volatility or with such rapid market volatility within the market. Now, or if it doesn't, then we expect it to bounce. So let's come up with another important support and resistance line, which is actually, when you look at this point, there is this point that this similarly looks to be at the same point, at the same line with this, and this, and this, and this. So I'll actually come up with one here. So before I come onto that, let me actually look out onto this. I see also another one here. So it retraced here. So here we experienced a break, but then this market slightly came down, gained the momentum such that you could actually see this move. It's because of the retracement and the momentum gained after the market retracing from this very. So when you look at various points here, the market has literally been moving onto this point, either breaking or retracing from this very point, meaning that when market reaches there, we actually expect the market to bounce or break the market. Again, to remind you, there are these very points where we actually come up with the supply and demand zones. And to remind you again, the only difference between supply and demand zones are basically the appearance of these two. The supply and demand zone in relation with support and resistance. Their own difference is their appearance. When it comes to the support and demand zone, supply and demand zone, they are basically zones. Their layer is a bit wide as compared to that of support and resistance, because support and resistance are basically simple lines like the way you see them from our chart. Let's come up with actually this Remember, when you're drawing these lines, you actually have to make sure that they touch more than 3 points. Okay, now if you're only having 2 points, like for instance, when we look here, when we look at this point here, we actually have 2 points. Now we can draw or draft our resistance such that when market comes in the near future, we expect actually to make an opportunity to buy or sell the market because of what previously happened. Now when it touches the 3rd point, then it will definitely mean that we will profit out of this because of what has happened in the near future. So we have been in position to draw as many lines as possible. I've also noticed this. There is a line here, touching here, touching here, touching here, touching break. Of course, what led to this gap? It can be very many factors. It can either be a weekend, or it is just a gap due to the factors that leads to the gap. That is being in the position whereby you're experiencing here now at this point. We actually can say that we never experienced anybody that was buying. Now it's for this reason as to why we're actually having such a gap. A gap means that if the gap is bearish, okay, this means that now the market never experienced anyone that was buying. If the gap is bullish, that is from open below and closed up, this definitely indicates that during that specific time we never experienced, or we experienced very little or very few buyers within the market. So it cannot it may not necessarily not be no, but it indicates that we were experiencing a few people or buyers or sellers within that specific gap. So that's what it means. Okay, now after identifying or having our support and resistance, then it's from this very point where we can ideally get our supply and demand zones. So with supply and demand zones, you can actually get more of these actually by using the rectangular shape. Let me shape shape. So what we do, I go pick it here, then draft. I'm going to replace this resistance with this, and again when you're drawing it, don't make it so deep, because after all we have actually minimized our market. Therefore, if it is experiencing more weight, or if it is very thick, then it means that when you try to adjust or zoom in, then it will definitely be something very big, which may at some point lose the meaning. Now when I try to remove this resistance of mine, when I try to remove this resistance of mine, you realize that it's coming to look more of a zone, which is this. Okay, so it is a zone that can be modified by actually touching the middle line. Then you can move it, okay, such that, because I really also want it to touch this point, so I can make it a bit wide slightly, but not so wide. Okay, such that it can also counter this other line and make it effective. Yeah, like that. So whenever market reaches that point, we expect it actually to hit it and then suddenly come down. Okay, please subscribe and click a bell such that you're in position to receive most of our newly released videos, okay, about forex trading and so many other videos related to forex that will be released by simply just a notification that you actually receive when you experience a new video. Again, let's also come up with another line. So remember, we said we're going to be replacing all these with our resistance line, with our triangular line, which literally works as more of a triangular thing to bring out the clear description of a zone-like feature. That's why we are using the rectangular kind of related instrument or shape, because it actually looks more, it makes it more vibrant due to the fact that it's a zone. So a zone, just like the way you see, it comes with a thick body that literally can actually bring or encounter points that would literally be missed out. Like, say for instance, when you look at this point, you realize that it will be missed out, but due to the fact that you're experiencing or you put your zone, then definitely it will also count or make sense, and hence points that will be in line with this height will also be counted, and trades will never be missed out. Okay, hope that is very clear. Again, when you're also drawing this resistance, make sure that when you're drawing it, you actually bring it to the future, because the reason as to why we in position to ideally notify or analyze the future is for us to determine the future price movement. The reason as to why we actually analyze our past or our history is for us to be in position to project what is nearly expected to happen in the near future. Now, when you're drawing it, you not only focus, like for instance, if I had drawn this, stopping it from here, then it would definitely mean that now it isn't making any sense me coming up with such as a supply zone. A supply zone, yes. Me coming up with that supply zone, because now I will not be in position to use it. But then if I prolong it towards the future, like for instance here, I drafted this. In fact, this is also supposed to extend towards somewhere there, such that when market comes, and you can keep extending them as far as possible for you to ideally take an opportunity for whether to buy or sell the market. Now again, let's proceed with another one. You can make sure that you touch as many points as possible, such that you make the setup perfect, because the more perfect or the more points the zone touches, the more perfect the setup comes, and the more perfect the trades you want to enter. So let me draw this. Yes, also I've drawn this. Of course, after drawing it, make sure you actually remove the support line or the resistance line. Again, to remind you, we also have robots at FX Kampala at a cost of $50, with a win rate between 20 to 50% on a monthly basis. Between 20 to 50% on a monthly basis. Please have them. If you need one, don't hesitate to contact us on our WhatsApp number in this very video to have yourself one that executes trades automatically. Okay, automatically with a defined stop loss and take profit, and also with unadjustable lot sizes. Okay, so all you need to do is actually for you to open your laptop and connect it on internet, then it executes trades automatically. It's just at a cost of $50. Have yourself one when you come at FX Kampala. So let's proceed. Of course, after having this, let me also draw this other one, pickish here. Then also I will draw this as well and prolong it. Then I'll also draw the last one. Yeah. So now this means that for those that are apparently on the chart today, that's on 2nd of February, GBP USD, when you look at this market, due to our analysis based on supply and demand zones, you're actually going to realize that if this market where it apparently is, when it breaks and comes below, like say for instance, when it reaches this, when it reaches that point, it definitely means that this market is going to continue down till when we come out as it approximates to this next supply, the next supply zone. Okay, if again it fails, but again instead comes back and reaches this point, then this definitely means that it's actually going to go in for a buy, and we expect it to reach, or the most nearest point we expect to come out of this trade or put our take profit would be the next zone. Now when it reaches 1.36359, that's the buying point, and then 1.35991 is going to be the selling point. Okay, hope you have gotten something out of this video. Okay, subscribe as well for Forex signals. We do also offer Forex signals. Don't hesitate to contact us in anything or in position where don't hesitate to contact us if you're in need of any Forex service, okay, or any Forex related issue, to contact us with the contacts in these videos, that are here or here. You also subscribe, also comment if there is anything that is not clear, but then I would recommend you to actually use more of the contacts in these very videos of ours, or we normally release on our channel. Also visit our website, whereby we actually prefer daily Forex signals. We also provide news. We also provide news that are to be released, or what we call calendar of apparently or occur videos, like say for instance the NFP. We have just go to our website to get everything that is needed for you to actually trade based on the fundamentals. So we provide all the content, the time, how impactive news is going to be, straight directly to our website. So everything is on our website, the brokerages to use, the education and everything. So the website is www.fxkampala.com, where you meet each and everything that you need, you as a trader, to be in position to trade. We shall also we shall also upload the EAs that most people have requested us to do so, and we shall be doing so. Please don't hesitate to subscribe for everything. Subscribe on our YouTube channels, subscribe for on our Facebook pages, subscribe on, or like us on Twitter, or like us on Instagram and phone. FX Kampala is the name of the company. I've been Ismasewan Kambo from FX Kampala. Hope this video has been helpful. I sign out. Thank you so much. Bye bye. I love you all.